Welcome back, listeners and followers. We're excited to be back. And for those of you listening on Spotify or watching via YouTube, we're excited to have you with us today. It is a very appropriate topic that we're going to talk about today, but one that fits quite significantly with February, if you want my own opinion. We want you to kind of think for a minute, what if we told you that understanding how others feel loved and supported can make you a better teammate, a stronger communicator, and a more respected leader on the court? So today we're actually going to dive into something that actually comes with being human first, but ties into being an athlete second, and how that can really make your game more elite and become who you want to become. And that is the 5 love languages and why they matter for relationships with your coaches, your teammates, your family, and even yourself. So no, this episode is not about romance. So just pause there. Don't worry and stress about that. But really it's about connection, trust, influence, and who you can become as a person, and really to help you become an elite performer.
Some of you may have already heard what the 5 love languages are, and you're like, I already know mine. I don't need to worry about anybody else's. But you do got to worry about everybody else's, because that's how we're going to connect with people. It's how we build relationships. It's how we build those memories. The person who created the 5 languages, his name is Dr. Gary Chapman. And the 5 love languages are: 1, words of affirmation; 2, quality time; 3rd, receiving gifts; 4th, acts of service; and 5, physical touch. Some of you may actually already know what those are. Some of you may know what your mom and dad's are, your siblings are, or if you have a significant other, maybe you know your significant other's love language. And the idea behind all these languages are because they describe the primary way people give and receive emotional connection. And we have to connect emotionally as much as we connect in all the other ways. And the idea is that people express and interpret care differently. So if you think about how different you are between your siblings, it's kind of the same concept. Like, everybody's different. We're all unique. And so we each have these things that separate us. Some of us are similar, and we like, say, like acts of service. Like, we all like when people do nice things, but that may not be like our number one love language. When we get to know someone's love language, we can communicate in a way that actually means something for them. And I think that's important. Like, we express that love and do it meaningfully instead of just casually. And so what we're going to do is we're going to break down each one of these and show you how it shows up in your life, but also on the court as well. And as you're going through and as we're talking, maybe you're like, maybe that's mine. How do I know what love language is mine?
Yeah. So first off, just so you know, love languages have actually been researched and are research based. They know what they're talking about. And really being an elite athlete is not just a physical element. It's all of the things like Shalyse talked about. And I think for me, with my knowledge and profession and being able to help and teach you, one of the things I want you to understand is you actually have all of these. So a lot of people, when we talk to you today, we want you to try to figure out the order to them. And maybe you won't know off the bat, because I remember thinking mine was actually gifts, if I'm being completely honest. And it's because I actually really was good at gift giving. When people talk to me, I'll pick up on something or I'll pay attention to something they've mentioned. And remember, come their birthday or a holiday, I want to give that to them. And I want to try to make it as special as I can for them. However, as I got older and started to learn about these, that was actually not my primary love language. Mine was tied actually to physical touch. But because of past experiences and trauma, I had some barriers and walls put up that was not in truth. And I'm still working on that to this day, if I'm being honest. But you have all 5 of these. You need all 5 of them, but there is an order to it. So as you think about it, for me, physical touch, then it's quality time, words of affirmation, acts of service, and then gifts, which is interesting that gifts is my last one. So just because somebody's good at actually doing it does not mean that that is their primary love language themselves. So this is where our connections get complex with people and with yourself, because we're still figuring that out. We're still figuring out this about each of ourselves. And so as we talk about each of these, pay attention, and we're not expecting you to know this right away. And the cool thing is we're going to post a link this week that gives you a free test you could take to help you try to figure that out for you. because this is a journey, but we know how important it is. And when you start to understand yourself, then it's easier to start to understand your teammates, your friends, your family members, and it becomes more beneficial with what we're going to work through. So let's dive in with the first one.
So the first one is going to be words of affirmation. And so some people feel valued when they hear words of encouragement, and some people just feel awkward and just don't know what to say. But for some people, that's they want to be praised. They want to hear the good stuff. And so you're probably like, okay, so like, what are some basketball examples for like words of affirmation? Could be like, great read on that play. And it's specific. It's not like good job. That doesn't land for them. It has to be a little bit more creative, a little bit more specific. So it lands. It lands for them. So great read on that play. I saw how hard you're working. Keep it up. You bring the energy that lifts this team. You made that amazing 3-point shot. Buckets. And like there's so many possibilities are endless. Why does this matter? So verbal encouragement actually boosts confidence and it strengthens the belief in the ability. So it can also be, think of like your positive affirmations. It all ties together. So maybe if they're struggling a little bit and you give them a words of affirmation, give them a little bit of word stuff that makes them feel good, they're like, yes, I believe in myself again. I got this, right? Hearing praise can reduce performance anxiety and help players with challenging training or games. The quick tip is remember, make it specific, make it sincere. Nice cut beats good job every single time because it's more specific. Good job. It's like, okay, good job at what? Don't leave them hanging. Good job at the cut. Good job shooting. Good job picking up your crap after practice. Or good job being on time. If someone's always late, you can always give them praise as well. But just remember, like, it it may be uncomfortable for you, but for you, remember, you're a leader on your team and you're a good teammate and you want to help people out. And sometimes the people on your team, this is how you're going to connect with them and build that relationship. So even though it may feel awkward for you, it's helping you. And the more you say it, it won't feel as awkward because you're just giving compliments. And we can all give compliments and be nice to our teammates.
Mhm. I think one of the things with this, and this is just a small insight I've learned over the years of doing this and trying to understand people. If you know of somebody that really needs recognition, meaning just acknowledged, like their presence, what they do, usually their love language is words of affirmation, or they need to have that ability to receive gifts where you're acknowledging them physically, not just with your words. That's something that's really helped me is I'm not a person that likes to have a lot of recognition publicly. I don't. That's just that doesn't float my boat. It's okay. And I had to be okay with that because I think as a teenager we all want to be acknowledged. So sometimes we seek a love language to be our first one even though it's not. So when you start to find these and discover who you really are, it's cool how it will resonate with you and then will also help you help other people resonate in themselves. Then we're not competing as much or becoming our best self. So in your team, if there's a lot of girls in your team that are struggling with self-worth and who they really are, it's probably because they're lacking their love languages being fulfilled or they don't know what they are. So helping you learn this and then helping your teammates is going to help your whole team just elevate level wise. That's why Shalyse and I were so passionate about sharing this with all of you today is because we want you to elevate as a player and become the best you can. It takes a team to do that when you're in a team sport. Basketball, soccer, volleyball, even golf, even though you play on your own, you're still a part of a team. So this is important. It's really going to help you in your progression. So the second one we're going to talk about is quality time. So what is quality time? So this is the language that focuses on attention, okay? That feeling of being fully present. How many of us are not fully present right now? Guilty. I will be in a conversation and my phone will go off like 20 or 30 times because that's what happens when you're a doctor and people need you. However, there is a lot that is said when you focus on people and you make it that time quality time where you're all in, you're all present. So some examples in basketball or in sports can be extra reps with a teammate after practice. taking that 10 or 15 minutes to stay and rebound for them and just encourage them. You could do words of affirmation and quality time all at once. One-on-one time with a coach, reviewing film. Take that time to do it, whether that's with yourself, with a coach or a teammate. Maybe even it's your parent that is, used to be a basketball player or coach and has some experience they could teach you. Learn from them. Take that quality time and put your phone away while you're doing it so you can be present. And then active listening when a teammate talks. Are you actually looking at them? Do you look them in the eye, or are you like looking off in space, thinking about how you're going to eat this for dinner and not paying attention to the person talking to you? We've even seen it with players and coaches. Your coach is trying to teach you in a huddle or a timeout, and I'm looking at the stands, I'm scanning for my parents. This goes back to quality time. Are you focusing on being in the moment so you're on the same page? This really matters. So make sure that you pay attention to this. Remember, you have this in you. It just matters which love language is first. So remember, quality time fosters deeper relationships. Research has shown that shared meaningful experiences builds trust and helps sync emotions and mentality. So you guys are on the same page with your team. This is exactly my point with being all in and focused during a practice or during a timeout. If you and your coach are not making eye contact and you're not paying attention, or even if you're not the five sitting on the bench that your coach is talking to, behind the coach, are you zoned in trying to pay attention? Because that body language is really, your coaches are picking up on it, whether you realize it or not. So make time for connection. Every 5 minutes of focused conversation can go a really long ways.
One thing I'd think about quality time, like in sports and stuff, is like, what are you doing outside of the court and connecting with your teammates? Like spending time with each other. And I feel like the strongest teams are the teams that are spending time off of the court. And they're building those relationships, they're building those connections. And they may not be hanging out like for 3 hours after practice. It could just be running down to like the main office, or it could be running to Taco Bell, or running to Del Taco, or running to McDonald's. But it's like building those relationships, making TikToks before the games. Like that is quality time. And I know all of you make TikToks. And so maybe invite someone that hasn't been part of your TikToks, that's just kind of sitting in the corner, that like they know the whole dance, they know the whole whatever, but that could be quality time. So TikToks equal quality time. So the third one is receiving gifts. And so for this one, it's receiving thoughtful gifts that make people feel appreciated. So kind of like what said is like, she would listen to people's conversations and they may bring something up of like, oh, I really love Caitlin Clark. Mental note. It's like, okay, cool. Like, when's her birthday? When's this? When that? It'd be really cool to get her something with Caitlin Clark on it, or just something as little as that. Or their favorite color is yellow. Okay, cool. I know if I pick yellow, I'm good to go. So like a few things that you could do for basketball is like a small token after a big game, a handwritten note, a supportive text, or like sending a meme. Like that goes a long way. And I think a lot of us, when we think of like receiving gifts, it's like it has to be something that we have to have in our hands and we have to cherish it and have it. No, it can just be like a super easy text. Like, yes, we have it in our hands, but we can reference it and go back to it. And like I just said, it's not materialism, it's thoughtfulness. So receiving gifts is being thoughtful. So gifts signal attention and investment. So investment in your time of going out and writing that text message, or writing a note, or finding something that would absolutely make someone's day. It's reinforcing your appreciation for someone's effort or presence. And I think as well, like, don't expect anything in return. And I think that's a big one, is like we like to receive, but we also like to expect something in return. Do it because you want to give and because you love them and you're super stoked to see their face when they open it. And you're just so stoked. You're like, yes, I'm so glad you love it. Um, it's meaningful, it's intentional, and it does not have to be expensive. And I think that's the key of like, we're like, oh, I love to give gifts, but I don't have money. Keep it simple. Writing a note is free. Texting someone is kind of free, but but it goes a long way. And maybe there's someone on your team that needs a little something something from you.
Yeah. Or maybe it's one of your siblings. Maybe you have an older or younger sibling. You could write some encouraging notes of just how much you look up to them or love them. And I this will help you, like, in life, in dating someday. Speaking of romantic, we said we weren't gonna go there, but it's these types of things that will help you build relationships that won't be superficial. If you think about our world and the world we live in, maybe you come from a broken home, like your parents have split or they're divorced. I think a lot of people start to get scared to have those relationships. But as I've worked with people in my job and profession or had conversations with people, a lot of times these broken relationships come because we aren't fulfilling love languages and seeking to make the time to understand that person in a way that we can encourage and support them in the way that they need to. So remember, it's the small and simple things that can make all the difference. So the next one is active service, which leads right into what Shalyse just talked about. These really build on each other, and you can see how they're so interwoven, and sometimes it's hard to separate them. But remember that they all are important, and your intention behind all of them is what really should matter. Your acts of service, remember that your actions speak louder than your words for people, especially your teammates, your coaches, and honestly, even your opponents. How you act in a game, your language, your body language. If you foul somebody and it wasn't intentional, do you reach down to help them up? Even if it's your rival team. There's a lot that can be said about sportsmanship, and those can be considered acts of service when you can carry yourself with good sportsmanship. So remember, it can be as simple as carrying a teammate's bag or gear. You could do an extra rep with somebody after practice. You could work on filing in defensive slides during tough drills. You could always work on helping somebody in need. This could be picking them up during the day when they're having a hard day or just not mentally in the place that they need to. So I think this one speaks for itself, but I want to ask each of you, when's the last time you truly served somebody? And I'm not just saying because you have to, like, I have to do my chores. That's not really considered an act of service if you have to do it. That's more responsibility. But when's the last time you just knowingly serve somebody? And it's fascinating to watch how some people are more natural at this than others, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be natural or normal to you. But what are you doing every day to get outside yourself? And I remember growing up, this is one thing my parents really encouraged us is, what are you doing today to look out for somebody else or to help them and show love and kindness? And I'm grateful. I got so annoyed as a teenager. I'd like roll my eyes and be like, oh, stop telling me this. My parents were probably so like, stop. You're such a hard teenager. So I was one of those. You could say that like some of you. However, that repetition of them continuing that throughout my life really made all the difference. And I'm so grateful they were persistent and kept on me because now when I'm having a hard day, that is actually one of the first things I think about is what have I done today to serve somebody else? Because as soon as I do that, it's like a 180, the flip switch goes on, the light turns on, and life gets so much better. So these acts of service do show care through your efforts, even if they're small efforts. And on a team and the culture you're trying to build with your team, this is a responsibility that has to happen. If you just think about yourself and you're not grabbing the ball bag once in a while, helping a teammate after practice, being better at reps and rebounding, or finding the little ways to serve them, that will impact your team and your team energy will be felt. It won't be what it could be. So remember, look for little ways to help. Consistency matters more than the grand gestures or something big that everybody sees. It's the small and simple things that make all the difference.
Absolutely. And as I was thinking about acts of service, the first people that come into my mind on a basketball team are the managers.
Yeah.
Like, we're asking them to do so much stuff, and they're serving you to help you become a better athlete, but are you helping them become one of the best managers? And I think we need to help them. And I mean, yes, it's the coach's job to teach you how to be prepared for your game, but like, how are you serving your coach? Like, are you actually doing what they're asking you to do? Are you willing to do what they're asking you to do? Because in a way, that's serving them and not having to repeat themselves over and over and over. But the more you serve, the better you feel. The better you feel, the more you'll serve. And I love that. And it kind of wraps in with our fifth love language, which is physical touch. And so this is appropriate physical touch, like high fives, a pat on the back, a supportive hug, good physical touch that's appropriate, that makes them feel valued and appreciated. So kind of like what we just said, like high fives after plays, high fiving people when they're coming off the bench, or whenever you can give them a high five, encouraging shoulder taps, like, or it may just be like shoving, kind of the thing. Like when you get all like hype, like someone makes a 3-pointer and they get fouls, and you just like body slam them, and you're like, yeah, like it's kind of like monkey in the middle, and you just kind of get all jostled around. That's the best way I can think about it. But then the other one is like celebratory chest bumps. Like I know a lot of my basketball players, they like to try and to attempt this, but normally one is taller than the other, so it's like more like hip to hip. Um, but stuff like that, and those are fun because it's that connection. And so when we touch something, physical touch releases oxytocin. So it can. It can, but my guess is that every time you have a positive physical touch with another person that makes you feel happy, you're releasing that happy chemical in your brain called oxytocin. And that's a hormone, and this releases stress and increases bonding in useful situations. So, like in team sports, this is where connection matters. And this is why all your coaches are like, okay, shake hands, do cheers, make sure like you're giving high. Like the biggest one that we have is high fiving, and then a couple high schools in the state of Utah, they do a thing called link up. So like in timeouts and anything else, they're all linked up. Like they're all linking arms, or they're all holding hands, just so they're connected. And physical touch, like we just said, team sports is where this connection matters. They're together, they're united, and we're releasing that happy chemical in our brain to make us be happy. But with physical touch, remember, be respectful and mindful of people's boundaries. Not everyone wants to be touched. Some people have the ick and have germophobic people, and they don't want to touch other people's hands because they don't know where they've been or whatever it is. So if you have a teammate that may not be a fan of high-fiving, just be like, okay, touch elbows, or it may be the chest bumps or the hip bumps or the side, I don't know. But it's just like talking to them and figuring out how they like to receive that physical touch. Another way I think about it is like like at the end of a game, and you're like in the locker room and you're like throwing water at each other, like celebrating and like bumping. You may not be touching them physically, but you're touching them with water. So you can count that as like a physical touch. Celebrating, getting excited, but like making that contact is the way I think like physical touch.
It's important. They've proven that energy, so like just your hand clapping, will bring energy. That's why they've proven bench energy, like 36% more winning records happen from a team that has energy. And that comes from, I mean, this is the physical touch we're talking about. We're not going to get into all the other physical touch today. This is just in a team aspect. Pay attention to this. And I will tell you, if you're a teammate that comes out of the game with an attitude and doesn't high five your teammates, you just broke healthy connection. Like I've coached players that come off with an attitude of like, why am I out? Why am I being subbed? And then they totally won't high five. They just walk down to the bench as they leave their teammates hanging. That sounds a very negative message. And I've seen it over the years. I've coached, for 7 years plus now. And I've seen it with multiple teams. It always happens and it breaks it. It breaks your team. Don't do that. Find ways to, even if you don't want to, like Shalyse said, elbow bump, do something it helps you snap out of your negativity quicker. I think that's the point I really want to make is not only is it helping your team, it helps you get out of your negative funk and your attitude, which you need if you're in that place. We all need that. So important that we work on that. So with our love languages, why are we bringing this up? Well, we're going to kind of wrap this and tie this all back together because once you start to recognize love languages for yourself, for your teammates, you connect with your teammates on a deeper level. That's the connection we want to have that flow, the camaraderie, and just be able to play the way we want to. It also helps reduce misunderstanding and conflict. When people aren't having their love languages met, I can't tell you how many issues come up. We could spend hours talking about that, but I'm just going to leave it at that.
We got stories.
Yes, we do. But this helps resolve a lot of conflict. This is why awareness matters. This is why we're trying to snap you out of the funk of you and help you learn these things because it will help you. You'll build trust faster. Honestly, trust is a huge thing between you and your teammates, between you and your coaches, and with yourself. You'll trust yourself in harder and more difficult situations because you'll be in truth with yourself because you've had your deep needs met. You'll also become a more influential leader. It's amazing how just understanding this makes a big difference. I remember my mom taught me about these 5 love languages when I was a teenager, and I remember struggling with a couple teammates and friends a lot. And my mom had always said, what's triggering you is things about yourself in them that you don't like. That sounds kind of crazy. But once I realized it was me not being okay with myself, and some of it came back to these love languages, then it's almost like the triggers and the things about them that irritated me the most just went away. It fixed the problem. It helped just calm me and help me understand them and help make them human because sometimes we just imagine up things that aren't helpful either. So imagine a team where you speak encouragement to a word driven teammate. Because imagine if you're that negative player that yells at your teammates and that teammate's love language, that primary love language is words of affirmation. You just destroyed them. You tore them down. You broke them down. You broke them. Guess how much more work it takes to build somebody? It's like 7 to 8 times to rebuild. So your words matter. These little things matter when you're able to carry yourself in that way. You spend quality time with a teammate that's a quiet leader, but that trust builds because their love language is quality time. Just like we talked about, maybe rebound for them after practice, maybe work on those post moves if it's a younger girl or even a teammate that you could just help. And you support with actions that show you've got someone's back, whether that's through quality time, making acts of service and helping them. That's how strong teams thrive, not just survive. Let me repeat that. We don't want your team to just survive. We want you to thrive. That means a winning record. That means breaking 30 years of not winning a region title or a state championship or whatever that is for you and the teams you're a part of. That's what we want to break. And I promise you, this is at the front of helping that happen. As soon as you start to understand these things, it will change everything. So, research in organizational psychology shows that people that perform better and stay engaged longer when they feel understood and appreciated. The same applies in sports. Okay. So remember, as you feel understood and you feel appreciated, think of how much better your sports and team experiences have been. A lot
Yeah,
better.
so yeah, I think it's super important. Like we all have like this image of how we want our teams to be and how we want to play and all this stuff, but we have to be willing to put in the work besides put the ball in our hand. We have to be those teammates. Like we don't always have a ball in our hand. And this is why it's so important. This is why this is your challenge for this week is to figure out your love languages. So identify your top 2 love languages. So we'll be posting a link in our post on Tuesday where you can take the quiz and then it like gets sent to your email and then you'll be able to like rank your love languages. And it'll be interesting to see what yours are. As well, after you identify your 2 love languages, try and identify at least 2 of your teammates. Some of you may be thinking, well, this basketball season's over. Da da da. Okay, congratulations. You have like track and softball and golf and what else is there?
Comp team,
Lacrosse,
lacrosse. Yeah.
bunch of other sports. Like you can connect with someone and it doesn't have to, it could be your friends. So identify at least 2 of your friends' love languages. Third, you got to put it into practice. So practice speaking their language at least once a day. So that could be encouraging someone with positive words of affirmation, spending time with someone who values attention, or support actions for someone who values service. Go and serve. Like, what's going to be a problem with that? Nothing. And then think about it each day. Like, did you feel connected? Did your connection with that friend feel stronger or better? Did your communication improve? And did you like have less conflict, less drama, less stress? All right. So as you go through this, and then you could be like, okay, as I was trying to help my friends feel their love through their love languages, how was my love languages fulfilled as well? Do my friends understand what my love languages are? And as you start to talk about it, you can be like, guys, I heard this podcast. They talked about love language. Let's do this quiz. And then you can kind of just go and see what everybody else's are. And yes, you may be ranked, your languages may be ranked differently or very similar. And it's fun. It's fun to talk about. It's fun to learn what people's love languages are because then you're able to connect more on a deeper level. And the deeper you can connect, the better those relationships are going to be. And you'll be able to be the better teammate. You'll be able to be a better communicator, a better leader, and a better human. And that's important because your impact isn't just measured on your stats or any points or anything like that. It's measured in connection, influence, and trust.
Yeah. So for those of you listening, this Shalyse nailed it. Have your teammates and those closest, maybe it's a family activity. Maybe you do this with your family or your best friend, or maybe you do have a significant other. Take this. I promise it's going to open probably some uncomfortable doors for you, but it's growth. Remember, there's growth in this process. It will change your world. Not only is it going to help you become better and understand yourself, it will help you understand people better. And so jump on this challenge. We hope you will take this further than we even talked about today. Learn it, master it, implement it because it will help you be a better family member, a better worker in your career and profession someday, a student, an athlete. It will take you to heights that you never imagined it could help you do. So, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate all of you for being here. Excited to include you and invite you to join us this week. Share this with people. Please comment. Please continue to work on you to become that elite athlete. And if you've not subscribed to our podcast or Spotify or YouTube links, please do so. And we will look forward to seeing you guys next week.